What is our concern? Our concern for the Edo State governorship election, just like any other state when elections approach, is security. Mahmoud Yakubu, I'm Chairman INEC, and in response to the invitation by the Joint Committee, we have literally emptied the commission to honor your invitation. All national commissioners in town are here, and we are joined by virtually all the directors of the commission. There are 6 documents we have prepared in response to all the issues for which, some of the issues for which our clarification is required. And we are here, and I guess, distinguished chair and co-chair, we will follow the agenda of the meeting. So if I have the permission of the chairman, I go straight to the first agenda, which is the preparation for EDO and ONDO governorship election. But if I don't,
With the permission of the committee.
Thank you very much, distinguished. So, distinguished senators, honorable members, I refer us to documents number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Document number 1 is the timetable for the Edo governorship election, which we released almost a year ago. I will speak to them, to the document, the first document, along with the document for the ONDO governorship election. We outlined 13 activities leading to the election as required by law, from the publication of notice for the election to the conduct of election. And so far, we have implemented 8 activities. We are on the 9th activity, and not one activity has been shifted by 1 day. And we have implemented those activities both in Edo and Ondo seamlessly. Number 9 is in the case of Edo State, is the submission of the names of polling agents by political parties, which according to the timetable is at the end of this month, on the 30th of July. But in the case of Ondo State, item number 9 is the same submission, but it's going to be on the 30th of September. As we speak, we have 57 days to the opening of polls in Edo State. And we have 113 days to the election in Ondo State. Is the commission prepared for the election? We are prepared for the election. And I must also say that this commission in particular has a history of having conducted 3 governorship elections in each of the 2 states. We conducted the governorship election in 2016 in Edo, in 2020, September, and now by God's grace in September 2024. In Ondo, we conducted the election in 2016, October 2020, and by God's grace on the 16th of November this year. So these are states where we have conducted previous elections successfully. So how far with the preparations and the situation in the 2 states? I visited, led a team of commissioners to both Edo and Ondo states, and we interacted with the stakeholders, particularly political parties, and we also had a meeting with the security agencies. In terms of our preparations, we don't anticipate much problem, in spite, in the case of Edo, of the unfortunate flooding in our office, not for the first time. In 2020, we actually operated from a rented facility. But this time around, thank God, the act of God came early. So we have enough time actually to respond and to conduct the election in our own facilities, within our own premises. So the election will hold within our own facility, within our own premises. What is our concern? Our concern for the Edo State governorship election, just like any other state when elections approach is security. When we were there, the political parties raised, and one of the political parties raised an issue in Edo about the likely deployment of the ESSN, the Edo State Security Network. But immediately we received the complaint, we headed to the office of the Commissioner of Police and summoned a meeting of all the security agencies in Edo State, and all of them, as members of ICSES, were at that meeting. And at that meeting, we agreed that we are going to meet with all the political parties in our office, which we did so the following day. And the Commissioner of Police told us and told the party leaders that he will take up the matter with the state government. The issue at that time was the ongoing continuous voter registration. And since then, I am not aware of any official complaints from any party or candidate to me on the role of the ESSN. So I believe that the Commissioner of Police must have spoken to the leadership of the ESSN. So far, so good. I said so far, so good, but we have 57 days to the election. We've conducted the continuous voter registration. A few of the registered voters require validation. We went public and even published the names of all those that we require to come back for validation. I think 82 or so in Edo and 164 in ONDO. As of yesterday, we started the validation for these voters on Monday. As of yesterday, we achieved 72% success of the validation. They have been coming forward. Fortunately for us, we have their telephone numbers, and we also have their other contact addresses, so we're able to reach out to them to be validated. We are doing so because after the registration, as distinguished senators and honorable members know, we are required by law to display the registers for claims and objections by citizens, and also to do the ABs, the Automated Biometric Identification System. We are not happy with the quality of the biometrics for these 246 registered voters in the state out of over 260,000. So the number is actually 0.03%. But it's the right of every registered Nigerian to be able to vote seamlessly during election. And it is our responsibility to ensure that every citizen is given the opportunity. So we have gone back to these citizens. We hope that by next week, we'll publish for Edo State the final outcome of the continuous voter registration, integrate this to the register of voters, and as required again by law, each political party fielding candidates will have the complete register of voters for Edo State, both Edo and ONDO, but for Edo State, 30 days to the date fixed for the election. Each and every political party fielding candidates will have the complete register of voters for the state. All the number of registered voters on the basis of polling units and wards and local governments will be made available to each political party. This is a legal requirement, and we are going to do so. Our second concern as we approach the Edo election is what we have always grappled with. For the Commission, it is more difficult to conduct off-cycle governorship elections than it is for us to conduct general election. These off-cycle elections are very, very difficult and very challenging for us, for the simple reason that you have one state conducting governorship elections, and all the political parties will form their campaign councils, and you will deploy all the governors, all the honorable members in support of their colleagues. It becomes very challenging for us. But in a general election, all of you will be in your various constituencies fighting your own battles. But this one, you will descend on a small constituency, which makes the management of the process extremely difficult. Even accommodation becomes a very difficult issue. In Oshun, for instance, I was stranded because the politicians actually took over all the hotels when we went for the signing of the peace accord. So I managed to get one room. The following day, I had to rush back to Akure to fly back to Abuja. I didn't even stay in Oshun. So it becomes really very difficult. Pressure on all facilities. Thirdly, the other challenge is close to the election, particularly when campaigns start. Power of incumbency is used to the advantage or disadvantage of parties and candidates. And this is a clear violation of the provision of the Electoral Act that prohibits the use of power of incumbency to the advantage or disadvantage of any political party or candidate, whether it is outdoor advertising or campaign in the state media, or the use of state facilities like stadia and public spaces in public buildings. It has been an issue in previous elections. So far, so good, but it is now that the campaign is heating up, and this matter is likely to come up. But so far, without outside these concerns, we have been doing well. The third document I presented to you is the list of the final list of candidates for the Edo governorship election. In Edo, there are 17 political parties fielding candidates, and there is only one female candidate nominated by a political party. 16 other candidates are all male. There is no person with disability in Edo State, nominated by any political party. So we have a complete list of all the candidates, including their positions, whether they are governorship or deputy, their disability status, their ages, their gender, and their academic qualifications. And the same thing, document number 4 for Ondo State. In Ondo State, we have 17 candidates. There's no female candidate, unfortunately, in Ondo State. All the 17 political parties nominated male candidates. But the good thing is that there is one person with disability as candidate of one of the political parties in Ondo State, and that is the governorship candidate of the ADC party. So we have shared with you, distinguished senators, honorable members, the list of the candidates for the election. In addition to the timetable for the 2 elections, we still have 4 activities outstanding. We are on activity number 9 now, and we'll continue to track. Campaigns started in the 2 states, and campaigns are going to end as provided by law, 24 hours to the date fixed for the election. In the case of Ondo State, is going to be on the 14th of November. Thursday, 14th of November, all campaigns must cease. But in the case of Edo State, is going to be on the 19th of September. The election in Ondo is on the in Edo is on the 21st of September, while in Ondo is on the 16th of November. Again, we are open domestic civil society organizations or even international in the field. For those who will be in Edo for the election, will have an ID card, which will have the name of the observer, also a QR code, and you can use your smartphone to actually read the QR code to confirm if the QR code is actually from the commission or not. We'll soon start printing the voters register for the 2 states. We normally do the voters register in triplicate, 2 in black and white that we paste at the polling units, and we keep 1 as spare. And then the color register is what is used for accreditation of voters on election day. In Edo, in terms of the election technology, we had a challenge when our office was flooded. The BVAS machines deployed were substantially soaked in water. But the good thing is that we're able to recover well over 3,500 of the little over 4,000 BVAS machines in Edo State. They are all in a working order. We are lucky that this is an off-cycle election, so we can rely on resources from neighboring states. So we have called for additional machines from Abia, and the machines arrived Edo yesterday, 58 days ahead of the election. So we are very good to go on that score. So there should be no issues with the deployment of the BVAS machines for the election, spare in case it is required on election day, and also for training of the ad hoc staff ahead of the election. If there are issues that I've missed out, I'm prepared to respond to this irrespective of our preparations for the two governorship elections. For the riverine locations, we have some in Edo, but in Ondo, we have two local governments that are completely riverine, Ese-Odo and Ilaje. We have had history of deployment to these locations for the election, including the provision of life vests for all INEC officials deployed for the election. All INEC officials will be kitted with life vests when we deploy them to riverine locations. We were very unfortunate to have lost some policemen in Bayelsa on their way to southern Ijo years ago, not during the recent elections. So the commissioner decided to extend the same facility to all security officials accompanying INEC officials for the election. All of them will be provided with life vests. And we're also going to extend the same to civil society organizations as well as the media. As for the agents who are supposed to be in the locality, I believe the parties and candidates will take care of their own agents. So we have requested the security agencies to tell us any numbers that they require, so that if we don't have enough in Ondo and Edo State, we can always rely on the neighboring states for additional live vests. We don't have to get new live vests from elsewhere. The commission has enough facilities. So that is what we have been doing so far for Edo and Ondo. I cannot be exhaustive, but if there are questions or issues or matters arising, I am prepared to respond as much as possible, and the commissioners are here to chip in where my memory fails me. Thank you, Co-Chair. Yes. Instead of taking them item by item. So we are done with one, which is preparations for Edo and Ondo. The second one is the off-cycle election budget and releases so far. I think by the off-cycle election budget and releases, the Commission is referring to the forthcoming off-cycle elections. But we are faced not only with the two major off-cycle elections in Edo and Ondo, but we also have these by-elections outstanding. Right now, we have 7 vacancies to be filled, 7 by-elections to be conducted. Just to refresh in our memories, we have outstanding or pending by-elections, House of Representatives, Papura Garki, Federal Constituency of Jigawa State, Chikun Kajuru, Federal Constituency of Kaduna State, Bagwai Shanono State Constituency in Kano State, State Assembly, Ibadan North, Federal Constituency of Oyo State, it's a federal constituency. Then we have Kana 2 State Constituency of Rivers State, where an honorable member of the State Assembly passed on. But in case some of you ask, let me preempt you by saying that we are aware, but we have not been formally informed about the existence of vacancy for Ahoada East 2, where a member of the State Assembly claimed to have resigned and he has accepted a position in the executive. But there has been no communication from the State Assembly. And we cannot act until there is an official declaration of vacancy by the State Assembly. But for all the federal constituencies, we have received declaration of vacancies, including the last 2. The Honorable Speaker conveyed the declaration to us after your valedictory meeting. So we are good to go on these elections. Our budget for 2024, which was presented and defended before you, makes no provision for the conduct of these off-cycle elections, let alone the unforeseen and very difficult to budget by-elections. Because the by-elections are mainly as a result of the act of God, or sometimes resignation. It's very, very difficult to say so. If you ask me in June last year, when the National Assembly was inaugurated, that will be confronted with 18 by-elections by July 2024, within 1 year, I would have said, no, it's not possible. But it has happened. And as I said in my opening remarks, in the last 2 weeks or so, 2 members of the House of Representatives passed on. So each time that happens and a vacancy is declared, we are under obligation to conduct a by-election. So confronted with the challenge that there's no provision in the budget for the off-cycle elections, we, as a commission, cannot submit an appropriation bill to the National Assembly. What we do is to approach the executive, and we have approached the executive. Approval has been given, and we have been assured any moment from now, money will be released for the election activities in EDO, ONDO, as well as the 7 outstanding by-elections. But as far as that is concerned, I have no releases to report, but assurances that funds will be made available for the Commission to conduct the elections. We have gone very far with the pre-election activities. Is the remaining pre-election activities, the election activities, and the post-election activities, which have to be funded. So approval was given for the conduct of these elections, and the by-elections, 5 out of 7, because at the time we made our request, 2 vacancies were yet to occur in the House of Representatives. So in terms of that, we are confident that money will be released for the election. We always jokingly say that politicians will always find money for elections. So we are confident that funds will be released for the election. The third item is the 2024 budget and releases so far. Document number 6, in what I shared with honorable members, distinguished senators, gives the performance of the Commission so far. This is the performance of the Commission as at yesterday, the 24th of July. You will recall that you appropriated the sum of 40 billion to INEC as our statutory budget for 2024. This has nothing to do with elections. INEC is a commission. We have over 15,000 staff. We have one of the largest workforces in Nigeria, and we manage some of the largest facilities of any parastatal or agency of government in the country. We have offices in each of the 774 local government areas. Anywhere you go in any local government, you are likely to see buildings owned by 2 agencies, the police and INEC. There will be a police DPO in each local government, and then there will be an INEC EO, the electoral officer in each local government. So we have 774 facilities, in addition to our state offices, the headquarters in Abuja, the zonal stores, the Electoral Institute. We manage one of the largest real estates. So this budget goes into the provision of staff salaries and what have you. But when we defended the budget, we informed the committees that what was appropriated, because it was an envelope budget, will only barely cater for personnel emoluments and social contributions. There is no other provision. So in terms of our performance for the 40 billion, I have reported in document number 6, we are on the first line charge. INEC, the National Assembly, and the judiciary are on the first line charge. So immediately the National Assembly appropriates the budget. The Ministry of Finance breaks our budget into 12. Every month, they give us 1/12 of the budget for the year. And for the last 7 months, since the beginning of this year, the Ministry of Finance has been releasing the sum of 3.3 billion to the Commission, which is 1/12 of the 40 billion. And as at yesterday, we have received all the monthly releases to the Commission, coming to 23.3 billion out of 40 billion. That is 58.3%. What is outstanding is 16.6 billion, amounting to 41.67% not released. In any case, they don't release ahead of time. They release usually towards the end of the month. So in terms of our performance, we are doing very well based on what has been appropriated. But whether it is adequate to take care of all our activities, foreseen and unforeseen, is a different matter, of which I have consistently engaged with the distinguished chair of the Senate Committee and the honorable chairman of the House Committee. And we believe that they are going to help us to overcome these challenges.